So, a new Panty and Stocking series was announced. Now, I'm as happy as everyone else about this bombshell announcement, but being the dubious person I am, my hype didn't last long. It has been 12 years since this anime last aired, and let's just say things have changed a lot.
President of the United States.
Governors in 12 U.S. states have activated National Guard troops.
COVID-19 has proved to be one of the most virulent and disruptive viruses to have ever swept the world.
There are many things I'm concerned about. Will all the original voice talent return? Are they going to get Teddy Lloyd to do the soundtrack? And how different is the art style going to be? These are all reasonable things to be concerned about, but my main concern comes down to two issues: comedy and representation. Panty and Stocking is a comedy anime, first and foremost, and is notorious for its overly crude, vulgar, and juvenile humor. This style of comedy isn't for everyone, and I respect that, but
I knew it! It's sweet shit! Sorry, those pedophile moves don't work on me anymore.
Of course not! Why would you say that? I'm naturally petite and thin! I'm the reason tweens make themselves hurl!
Ambassador for fatties that think they should get to be loved for who they are on the inside. It's cool. Your tits keep you from looking like a little girl. I get it. Then when he gives you candy, you won't feel like you're hooking up with a pedophile.
Man, I'm turning emo. I gotta eat before I start the cutting!
Which is fine if they're nice, but I don't like Asperger's with extra ass.
Oh yeah, Alibaba, curry rice.
Gross! He hit it in his camel's face!
like I said, in the last 12 years, things have changed. And comedy like this is not what you would call politically correct in 2022. Now, the entire show's comedic style isn't entirely like this. Most of it is lewd jokes and potty humor, which should be fine, right? Maybe you haven't heard of Interspecies Reviewers, or maybe you have and know exactly where I'm going with this. Interspecies Reviewers was an anime that came out in 2020 and very quickly became the most controversial anime in recent anime history. The plot of the show was about two reviewers living in a fantasy world reviewing different species on what they were like to do the lewd with. The show wasn't poorly made and had a pretty large fan base, but the lewd subject matter caused so much controversy that Funimation, who is the same company that published the English dub of the original Panty and Stocking, refused to make an English dub for the show and removed it from their streaming service, making it no longer legal to stream the show outside of Japan. Their reasoning for this was, quote, "After careful consideration, we determined that this series falls outside of our standards. We have the utmost respect for our creators, so rather than substantially alter the content, we felt taking it down was the most respectful choice." In all fairness, Panty and Stocking never got as graphically lewd as Interspecies Reviewers did, but Panty and Stocking came out in 2010, while Interspecies Reviewers came out in 2020. And what is considered acceptable has changed. Speaking of acceptable, let's talk about my second concern, representation. Comedy is one thing, but the way shows portray people of color and women has become so predominant in the last 5 years that it feels impossible not to feel its effects in nearly all media. And Lord help you if your product portrays women or people of color the wrong way. Panty and Stocking are angels who fight ghosts so they can get back to heaven, but when they're not doing that, well...
Mine are small, fierce, and oh god, are they What's that smell? No, I'm gonna go with the coinage.
There! I just screamed so fucking hard.
For a hot piece of ass.
You are preaching to the vag, sister.
Whose face should I play rocking chair with first? I never thought I'd say this, but I'm too hungry to dry hump anything. I'd take a cooked wiener over a real wiener right now. Do you understand how hard that is for me?
God, I'm starting to get into this! Why don't you goblins next time we cut us one nympho, eh?
Right there. I don't care, just do it. No more group sex. No more naked men covered in sushi. No more spring break body shots.
To portray women to be anything that could so much resemble being a sex object nowadays is considered so taboo, it's less controversial to say that the earth is flat. There has, however, been a movement that sort of contradicts this taboo by celebrating women's sexuality and wanting to be less of a taboo. So, Panty and Stocking sexuality can go any way. You either get the group who thinks the characters are nothing more than a male fantasy that just further undermines women's rights, or you get the group that praises the characters for being empowering and representing women's right to sleep with whoever they want and be proud of it. There is a light at the end of the tunnel that the second group is more prominent, but knowing how Twitter is, I'm cautiously optimistic. Then there's Garterbelt, a black reverend who is attracted to underage boys. I really can't imagine this character making it into the show unaltered without him becoming extremely controversial. If not for his personality or actions, then definitely for his character design.
Who is flipping them greenbacks looking like a pimp?
I want this new project to be faithful to the original, but let's be honest with ourselves. Panting and Stalking with Garterbelt is a show that could have only been made in 2010. This is an anime that we have been waiting for over a decade for, and ultimately we don't know the tone of the series until we get a trailer or some footage, but I urge the fanbase to be cautiously optimistic. Here's hoping that we get a show that breaks the internet and still thrives despite the controversy. After all, it has happened once before.